Hello, good morning, Marisa.
Hello, hello, hello.
Hello. Okay, I actually sort of screwed that up. Let me read the intro. She is a runner who lives with multiple sclerosis. She's an inspiration to many. She is the driving force of Fight for Mobility. She is an author in the process of getting her autobiography written and published. Recently, she was in the hospital for a few days, isolated with COVID 19 coronavirus. She has a fire inside and she just keeps going like the Energizer Bunny. She's a total dynamo, Puerto Rican Spitfire, and a totally beautiful badass babe. I'd like to welcome my good friend Marisa Bosa.
Hey, hey, how are you? Thanks
Hey,
for having
good
me on.
yeah, good morning, Marisa. Thank
But
you.
yo puertorriqueño también, so you should be like, Buenos dias, Marisa. Hi.
Buenos dias, mañana, Marisa. Actually, I can't go that far into it because I'm
Can you
not.
roll your R's? We gotta see. Can you do that? Can we just like, all right. Señora
Marisa.
Latino. What's up? All right, hi. I'm so excited. You know what's funny? One of my friends sent me a song the other day, and she's like, it's called Blase Blase, and she says, it says Marisa's in the house. Oh my God. And it doesn't say that, but the fact that she heard that song and heard Marisa's in the house, oh my God, makes me laugh.
Yeah.
So Marisa's in the house. Oh my God, oh my God. But you're here, Shane. So you got 20 questions for me? 20?
No,
Is
no,
that what you
not.
have? Okay.
I
I felt like 50 Cent for a second there. I was like, you got 20 questions? Like,
no, no, I don't have 20 questions and nowhere near 50 questions. I just have a few questions written down. I figured, I figured that you and I, the way we are, we can cover the 50 minutes, no problem.
totally.
Oh yeah, definitely. And it's like the video I shared on my Facebook and Instagram last night. Promoting this show today. Since you're my guest, I the video I shared was your, if I'm not mistaken, that was the Humans of Hoka video, right?
It was. I was selected, which I asked the runner space actually filmed it, and they said I was the first ever orthotic athlete and first ever orthotic athlete with MS. So I think that was a powerhouse to our community, right? And I
Yeah.
was just privileged to be part of it. You make me sound way cooler than I am. People meet me in person, they'll be like, "Who is she?" So thanks for that.
Oh yeah, you're most welcome. Uh, I'm just, it's like I started following you on Instagram, and of course, uh, you have multiple sclerosis as well as I. I have multiple
Hmm.
sclerosis, and I was running. I've been running. Actually, I just passed on April 30th here a week or so ago. That was my or a week and a few days ago. That was my 4 year anniversary of since the day I started running in the first place. April 30th, 2016. But since then, it's like I've tripped and fallen so many times because of my drop foot, because of my MS,
Hmm.
and I saw your video last year or whatever. I think it was last year sometime. Uh,
Hmm.
the video that you shared on Instagram of you doing a training run, but you were running with your trekking poles, and I'm like,
Right.
I caught on to that right away, and I'm like, dude, maybe that'll help me not trip so much. And yeah, so I ran across the Tacoma Narrows Bridge and back with the trekking poles, and didn't trip and fall once. Never even drug my foot, and it was just like, wow, what a concept. I never thought about that before.
Well, and you know what? I'd like to say, hey, I want to take credit for that. I will say there was a fellow MS warrior, Heather Goodrich Plummer. She's the one that kind of started doing that. And I feel like we all in the community, when we see each other doing something, we want to go, okay, let me try it. And I have another friend of mine who lives in Connecticut, and I was really proud of him when he said, hey, I got my trekking poles out, and I went on the road today. And I'm like, yes, because you know what? That's basically telling whatever illness you have, MS, Parkinson's, anything that's preventing you from being fully mobile, to basically suck it because you're taking it out on the asphalt. And that's what I love to hear.
Yeah, exactly, exactly. It's like, don't just give in to to the illness or disease.
Mhm.
Got to stand up, keep moving forward. Um, okay, I'm gonna back up here a little bit. A couple questions I have just for our listeners. How where exactly did you grow up?
So I'm a New Rican. I grew up in CT primarily, but my roots are established with Spanish Harlem, 103rd Lexington. I spent my summers there, and when I wasn't there, I went to school in Connecticut. So yeah, and
Okay,
obviously Puerto Rican, yeah, being that I lived in Puerto Rico for a period of time too.
okay,
You wouldn't know because I'm like the whitest, but
yeah.
very light skinned. I love it when I'm at a Spanish restaurant though, and I start like throwing down, and I'm like, "Don't put the yuca in my acapuria," and they're like, "What?" I heard you. Yo entiendo. So
Yeah, yeah.
yeah, no, I have a very diverse life, and that's something that I attest to my parents. So it's pretty awesome.
Right on, right on. Yeah,
Yeah.
I just and well, I just wanted to clear that up because it's like I hear and read on your posts about Puerto Rican and then living in Connecticut and then everything, and it's like, okay, where are you tied in? But um, okay, and a couple questions about free questions about running.
Okay.
When did you start running to begin with?
I started running when I was in high school. I started running because I couldn't, ironically, and obviously that trickled all the way down to today, right? Do what you can't, and sometimes people go, "Well, you can't." No, I never. I thought that was a curse. I always thought "can't" was a four-letter word. So I started it when I was in high school. And I didn't start competing until I was in my 30s, and then I didn't really start competing in an actual, challenge athlete with a contractual as a patient ambassador for Hanger until last year,
Yeah,
and then being able to be a part of the Hoka Humans campaign.
right on. Um,
And
I'm sorry, what was that?
I was gonna say a lot of people go, "What's Hoka?" And I laugh because the running community is like, really? They're sneakers, so they're a great organization, and they really promote getting people on the road.
Right on. As a matter of fact, I'm wearing my Hokas right now.
Yeah,
Yeah,
yes.
got to get ready for going for my 10-mile run after the show.
I love it. You're my inspiration, so thank you for being who you are.
Well, thank you very much. You inspire me. Um, and okay, so you started running in high school,
Yes.
and when were you diagnosed with MS, and how did that affect your life and the running?
I was misdiagnosed for 5 years. I was on the Saucony 26 team. I was so excited. I was a rookie. I was, the veteran, which meant I was going to do 26 miles. And then about 2 weeks prior, or maybe a few weeks prior to the race, I was at 18 miles. And I was like, yeah, look at me. And then slammed, right, boom, right. And you can look at Marisa Boasa Saucony injury, and you'll see it online. In 2013, doctor said to fast forward, because I know we don't have much time. He said, oh, just give up running. And I was 35, giving out my age. And I'm like, what? So I kept looking for every January. I was like, all right, that's it. I'm going to start running again. And I noticed my mileage declining to the point where walking was starting to be compromised. And that's when I went to UConn Health and I said, hi, you're considered one of the best in New England for orthotics with sports and athletes. And they identified I had MS. And then my Mandel MS Center got me on the road with the treatment that I take and what I do. Everyone's different. I don't like to go on air with it only because everyone, they can talk to their own doctor. But the number one thing they said to me, and I love this, when they diagnosed me, they said, Marisa, have you ever heard of an AFO? And I'm like, is it like a UFO? What are you talking about? And they said, ankle foot orthotics. So I wear both when I run. When I travel, I'll wear them. I'll tell you this. This is what's really awesome. I did have someone, and I want to show you this for the challenge community out there, for the disabled community. I was on vacation, and someone took like $300 out of my wallet. I had my AFOs on. I looked at the woman. I'm like, watch my stuff. And I ran out. I did get my money back. For those listening, get the police involved, which I did. But what it was is that be empowered. And those AFOs empowered me to be mobile, right? Maybe not to fight crime, because that's for the police. My point is it allowed me to not feel like, oh my gosh, I can't move. And I don't know, Shane, and you don't know 10, 20 years from now if we'll have a cure. But if I can be on my feet, in or out of my AFOs, it is a good day for me.
Definitely, definitely. Yeah, especially with the the variables and the potential with the autoimmune disease such as the
Hmm.
one we have, multiple sclerosis. We could possibly, by the end of the day today, or when we wake up in the morning, you know, not be able to walk, maybe not be able to even swing our legs out of bed. So any moment that we can, stand up
Hmm.
and strap on our running shoes and start running down the street, it's a bonus. No matter what mobility aids, that we may need to
Yeah.
get moving. Just to get out there and stand up in the face of this and say, "Hey, I'm still moving." It's a
Exactly.
bonus. Um, and so, what what were the uh, um, what were the initial symptoms of the multiple sclerosis for you?
Well, technically, initially, I remember about maybe more before 5 years ago, it was the eye. So anyone listening, very common is kind of with blurred vision in the right eye, which I didn't know was optic neuritis. Ocrevus for me, or anything, different people will say different, treatments that they get might help with that. I say again, talk to your doctor. But I know for me, my optic neuritis is ebb and flow, right? But that was the first sign, and they told me I had ocular rosacea. I'm like, what's ocular rosacea? It was MS. So, vision, mobility issues, speech, those can all be characteristics. But you know what? That can also be Lyme disease. You can get lesions on your brain and have Lyme disease. So I had to have a full, brain scan, spinal scan, and also I'm one of the patients with NIH. So I am part of their research and development to try to develop something for this. And that I can say when I really think MS sucks, I'm like, you know what? I might be one of the people that's part of the solution, and I can live with that. I can get up every day and go, you know what? I have MS to be a part of the solution for somebody else. I can live with that.
That's so awesome. I love your attitude. Just looking at the positive side of it. I mean, there's a negative side, the disease, and potential symptoms, side effects of it, symptoms of the disease. But then there's like the positive. Okay, I'm up. I'm moving forward. I'm living with this. And essentially, it's like freaking bonus living with this instead of dying with this. I mean, it's like you're alive. You might as well keep living, moving forward. That's
Well,
that's
yeah,
that's how I look at it. Um,
totally.
and on that same note, or on the other side of that token, or whatever you want to say, um, tell us about Fight for Mobility.
Ah. So Five Mobility is my grassroots initiative. It's something that I have worked closely with the trademark attorney because I want to take FFM and put it on those AFOs, and really utilize it as an opportunity to tell people that you are to fight for your physical or mental immobility. Because let me tell you, sometimes whether you have MS or not, you can have nothing and just getting out of bed is difficult. And so Five Mobility started before I was even diagnosed. People say, Maurice, why are you walking with an umbrella? It's not raining outside. I'm at work. I'm going, I'm fighting for my mobility. And it stuck. And then I reached out to a mutual friend and said, hey, can we start one video? Have you seen the final video? It's like, we had one video. But that one video, as I write the book and things that I forget, I look at those videos because it was a storyline of somebody like myself, which it was about me, but it might be about somebody else saying, hey, I got this. And if you watch those videos on the YouTube channel, you'll see I had one AFO, and then I ended it with two. So what it says is in life, you might unfortunately see a demise, but you don't succumb. You continue to fight. People say to me, so you went and did this race or this race. And this is what I say. As long as I cross the damn finish line, that's all that matters. And in life, if you cross your finish line, no matter what they are, physical or mental, you are so ahead of the game.
Definitely, definitely, and that's like I talk to friends in the running community, and even friends that are not in the running community about about running races, running 5Ks or half marathons or marathons, and people start talking about competition and racing and you know placing. What place did you get? Well, it's like I'm not going for any place. I'm not going for a competition. The only person I'm ever competing with is me, myself, and I. We have a race amongst ourselves, and it's like I'm running amongst hundreds, if not thousands, of other runners out there on the road. But the only person I'm worried about beating, if at all, is my own personal time. From last time. Or my
You always win if you finish.
yeah,
You know that.
exactly.
Every time you finish, you win. Done.
Yeah,
That's it.
exactly.
It's not, people say to me, oh, you always win in your challenge athlete division. Probably because there's not a lot of challenge athletes. I'm like, come on, guys, bring it. So every time, Shane, I love what you just said. Every time you're out there, it's you. You're your own competitor. But cheer yourself on, too. Give yourself a mental high five. If you give yourself a physical high five, hey, I respect it, too. But
yeah.
you gotta cheer yourself on, too. You gotta be your own personal fan as well.
Oh, yeah, definitely. And it's like, just crossing that finish line 26 miles down the road, that's even 5K, 3.1 miles down the road, crossing that finish line is, that's the bonus in itself, that's the goods. And it's like knowing that I have multiple sclerosis and then crossing that finish line in my first half marathon, my first marathon, first 50K that I did, it's like crossing that finish line. That was the most important accomplishment I had ever, done as of that time, and it's like, just, I know what, what you're saying about crossing that finish line because, like we've been talking, with MS and its unpredictability, that finish line may not come, but we cross it anyway, and overcoming obstacles and, using, like we were talking about, using trekking poles or AFOs, whatever we need to do to get across that finish line. And
most importantly, look at who your community, though, Shane. Like, I also look at it that it's, when you open your eyes, and somebody gave me the best advice, ironically, when I was in Puerto Rico, and they said, just keep a lookout in your pathway. Because the people if you're not keeping your eyes open to see who walks into your life, you won't see who you'll be able to encourage and have that interchange of encouragement. So we're not alone. If we open our eyes, we might see there are people there that want to cheer us on, and we find ourselves kind of like so focused on the disease, we have to also look at those that are there to help us too.
Yeah, that's very true. That's another side of it, is the community. It's like here here twice within the last 3 days, twice, 2 of those days when I was out on my run, I'm running like 10, 15 miles here in town, and I just happened to come across one of the running coaches here in town, and ended up running 5K with her each time. And, it's just so awesome, just the community, be it running community or MS community, or just community in general, just the people that are out there cheering us on and, helping us along the way.
But get involved in other communities. So I'm a diversity inclusion manager, right? So I build best practices, I would say, but I would tell people when they go, oh, I'm part of these employee resource groups at my job. Well, don't just go to the Latin one. Don't just go to the African American one. Don't just go to the multiple sclerosis one. Don't just go to the Parkinson's. Don't go to just one group. Be a part of all of them, right? Because then you're encouraging all. You're not because our communities, like you just brought out, we can expand it. Let's be diverse. And, I have a friend, I didn't realize he has Crohn's disease, and he gets infusions for his Crohn's disease. I'm like, you get infusions for your Crohn's disease? it made me feel like, wow, okay, cool. And I don't why that somebody getting infusions for Crohn's disease was wow, cool. What it told me is everyone's going through something, but guess what? If we're united and just moving forward, we're gonna have such a happier life, and we're not gonna sit there and be solemn. You know what I mean? And I think that's important too, is looking at it that we're all at the end of the day in this world, we're trying our best, and let's encourage each other, whether you have MS or you have suffered a stroke or you have this or that, just be there for each other. I think what's happening right now with this quarantine, we're seeing more of that. We're seeing more of a community, which is great, but let's remember it after too.
Yeah. Actually, yeah, and you just sparked something in my mind. A mutual friend of ours, and him and I are in the brain injury community because, as you know, I fell out of a tree and had a brain injury 33 years ago and was in a coma for a couple months. But at any rate, I was chatting with him. I was on the Zoom call with him in this brain injury group the other night, and apparently just me being out there running every day on this never-ending run streak that I'm on has inspired him to start moving a lot more. And, one or two other people on the call, it inspired them too. And I'm just like, okay, well, that's super cool. All I do, I just move all the time. And here I'm inspiring other people to get moving, and, whether they run or not, it's like if they just, start going for walks every day, that's immense, from not doing anything, and just to get moving and carry that motion forward.
Exactly, because you know what? It's all about motion, and physical or mental motion. We have to. I mean, and look at the friend that I made, who I was able to connect you with, and now you're connected to this person. I don't want to say their name on air, but I will call him RS. How's that? So RS, he connected with me. He has something that he's a part of, and to connect with me about MS, and then I connected him to you. And so at the end of the day, our community, I mean, you live in Washington, and I live in, cold Connecticut right now. Apparently the weather system has a quarantine because it snowed, and I'm like, hello, summer, why aren't you coming out? But my point is that you see how I would have never met you if it wasn't for MS. So in some ways, I must be thankful for the community. But if I didn't reach out to you, and you didn't reach out to me, and RS didn't reach out to me, we wouldn't have the community. So we have to, and if you're listening, if somebody's listening out there, get out of your own way and be a part of the community, because it is so fulfilling. People are like, when I spent 7 days in the hospital, I didn't turn the TV on until it was to watch that I was interviewed being in the hospital with COVID, because there was a community that I was able to be a part of that was like as if I had visitors. I had people that were dropping food off, which was like amazing. People I never even met. So when you open up your community, and they didn't have MS either, but if you open up your community, you'll never mentally or physically be alone, because you will have embraced that you're there for someone else. And again, interchange of encouragement. So if you're encouraging someone else, it's going to come back. It's called that reap what you sow, whatever, that mentality. So open yourself up. That's what you do. That's what I do. And that ultimately started this really awesome friendship. And I think that, to me, is a blessing.
Definitely. Yeah, it's like, it's like the reason I'm sitting here is because the reason I'm sitting here, speaking into this mic here at the station right now, is just because community. I opened I took a invitation to go to an event about a year ago, and met this lady who's got a show here at the station, and it took a few months, but she asked me if I wanted to be a guest on her show, and by the end of was a guest on her show. By the end of the day, I walked out of the building and had it in my head that I wanted to have my own show. So here I am, and it's like, you meet people, and you never know where it's going to go. So just foster that, foster those relationships in the community and become part of it. And,
Be part of the solution and not the problem.
yeah, exactly. Be part of the solution. And just adding the positive energy to the community rather than just hiding and, I'm not going to do that, It's like, why not? Why not? Why not me? Why not you?
Why not us?
Yeah, exactly.
Question: when this show, are we able to get a link, or how are we able to, for those, because we know it's Mother's Day and somebody might be still making pancakes, or mom might be just sitting there outside and just kind of, maybe chilling. Do we have a link after this interview that we're able to share? I know we were able to show people the website, and obviously people have logged in. I've been getting some text messages in between. But is there going to be a link post the show that we can share so that people can kind of hear your testament and the things that you've done, and maybe hear my crazy hot mess self? But because I think that would be possible too. Because people might not have been able to log in or be able to listen. Is there a link that we'll be able to share after this interview? Discussion
after this interview, what I will and what I do, like the past 2 or 3 Sundays that I've been on the air here, what I've done is I go home, and actually this show will be on my Facebook. No, it's on my Facebook Live now. Later on today, I will download this and put it on my YouTube, and so it will be available on YouTube. On my
You know what I'm going to do? I'm going to send this to Cindy. I'm going to send this to the national MS president. I'm going to call her out. Cindy, I'm sending this to you.
Oh, wow.
Because I tell you, Cindy Zagibiolo, I'm totally botching. She is a beautiful lady. She is an awesome lady. And she's been a part of the MS. She does not have MS, but she's been a part of the MS. She's been part of the National MS Society for like many years. I want to say over 25. And I want to send her the link because I think if we can continue to encourage other people that might not even know that you and I were speaking today, that might want to get on the road and might want to run or might want to go for a walk or go for a hike with their kids, or just, I don't know, be on their feet. It would be great to share that. And I think that's what's important is that we really continue to have awareness. And you and I try to do that. But if we all do that, we're going to really be able, and not, again, it is important to talk about the MS community. But sadly, there are other neurodegenerative illnesses that affect people. And I brought up Lyme disease because I have a friend that has Lyme disease. And I bring up Parkinson's and so forth. So I think if we can encourage all, we are going to stand united as one.
Definitely. Actually, you bring up those other diseases, and it was brought to my attention early on before I was definitely diagnosed with MS. It was brought to my attention by, friends or family members or whatever, people in the community that, I might not have MS, I might have Lyme disease. And then other people, oh, you might have this disease or you might have this illness, that because the symptoms are so closely related to MS. And it's like, it's just like that. But there's, came down to where it is MS, and that's what I was diagnosed with. Because all the symptoms fall in line. But yes, it is very, very important, for people with, any illness, any disease, even people that don't have an illness or disease, to, just keep moving and get moving. And that's what, that's what you and I can help people, and share with people is that, I can speak for myself when I say this, but moving and becoming highly active, and well, in my case, I'm an overachiever, and I probably am an overachiever, but running every day like I do, it's like it's like I've never felt better in my life, even before I had MS, before I had any illnesses or diseases. It's just like I feel better. It's like I feel so alive. And Yeah, I will. I would definitely. I don't have the. I can't. Okay, just a sec here. Let me see if this is long enough.
No, I think it's cool. So I'm watching you. It's very cool to watch your Facebook Live. So let me ask you a question, Shane. You've been asking me a lot of questions. What you have a book, and the only reason why I'm writing my book is because my doctors are like, why are you not writing a book? And then as I write the book, I'm like, this is, that's why the book is called Shut the Front Door. It's my life. But why are you putting yourself out there? I think it's important. I mean, I know you're like, Marisa, I'm here to interview you, but why are you putting yourself out there? I mean, you could be doing so many other things today. Why are you on this show today? Why are you talking about MS? Why are you bringing the awareness to it?
Well, it's the reason. The reason, like I even say in the intro or the first couple pages of my book, the reason that I wrote a book and decided to write down my life story, put it in a book, is that for years, having gone through my brain injury and the rehab from all that after being in a coma for 2.5 months, and just going through that and then going through my life, you know, practicing alcoholic drug addict in my teens, running away from home all the time, barely making it through school, but I did, and then it's like married, divorced, and I'm, in sobriety now. I'm 28 plus years clean and sober. It's just like life just, and now I've been diagnosed with multiple sclerosis, but I run marathons all the time and, run, and now today is day 715 of my never ending run streak. Coming up, it'll be 2 years on the 27th of this month. And it's like, I just keep moving forward, keep going. And people say, people have told me for years that, I have an inspiring story. So that's why I decided to write my book in the first place is, to inspire other people and maybe help some other people, to keep carrying forward, keep moving forward, keep living. Because I know from personal experience the depression that and the self-loathing or whatever that come with the having a major injury like that or an illness disease like MS and it's like I figured if I write my story in a book, then I can help other people. And of course, I just noticed and thought about it, but I just happened to be wearing my Dutch Bros tank top that I got at the Dutch Brothers annual leadership conference where I met Gary V. And Gary V. One of his big things is making content and just keep making content. Just do, and just don't worry about. Don't think about it. Just make the content. And so it's like Of course, I thought about it and thought about what kind of content I want to make, but here I am making content with you. Making this. Facebook Live video that I'm going to put on YouTube later, and we're on this call, just talking to each other and maybe helping some other people, and that's my goal is just to help other people, help inspire other people, and just to get moving, and you and we can help inspire other people to get moving, and maybe help some people get running, and. So that's where that is, just
That's awesome.
helping other people, and that's what it's all about.
At the end of the day, we want to live a legacy. We want to leave behind one. What do they say to live? If you really, everybody dies, but not everybody lives. And I know I was not Kanye, I don't know. But I've always liked that. Everybody dies, but not everybody lives. And why? Is because we get up every morning, but are we really living? Are we living to our true potential? That's professionally. That's personally. That's relationships. I mean, you look at me, and I don't talk about my personal relationship, but I've had a major, I've had a major change that I chose to make. And that's the thing is, at the end of the day, you got to take a step back, reassess and you need to move forward, no matter what. But I say, don't just get up in the morning. Live to your true potential professionally, personally, because tomorrow's not promised. I mean, look at me. I'm the girl that gets head-on collision 2 days after she has a tumor removed and then COVID-19. And I'm happy to be on this call with you, but I'd like to know if for some reason I wasn't on this earth, that someone's doing a hashtag fight for mobility and I left behind something, even if it was one person, then I know I've done what I need to do. And that's what we really need to try to strive for, is really living to our true potential and really identifying what that is.
Yeah, definitely. It's like another inspirational, motivational guy I follow is E.T. the hip hop preacher. And, one thing he's always talking about is, giving your all, putting forth, giving it 120%. And, it's like most days I get out there running, I go for a run and say I get off work and I don't, of course I'm not working right now because of quarantine, but, I get off work and I've been working all day. I don't really feel like doing anything, but I know I need to go for a run. So, because for me, I mean, I don't even take MS treatment. I haven't since I started running. I just run and I, eat a healthy diet. I control my MS with exercise and diet. And that just works for me. I don't know if it works for, how it works for anyone else, but it works for me.
Yeah, and you gotta do what's best for you. So, I mean, I love that you brought up diet because people will say, with MS, you must be gluten-free. And you know what? This is how I look at this. You must try and strive to eat a healthy diet. But we're not cookies. Right? I said it before. MS, if anything, it's that snow globe, right? So do what's best for you. And, I mean, my mom came over to the house. She was like, how are you a size 2 and you eat bacon? And I'm like, I don't know. She's like, okay, your diet cannot be bacon and chocolate, Marisa. I'm like, it's my diet, But obviously, make sure you have those fruits and vegetables. And I think at the end of the day, if we have a balance with what we put in our body, we're going to have a balance in our mind. We really will. It's all one huge dynamic.
Yeah. But it's like... definitely diet and exercise for me. The way I see it, it's like for anyone. Even if I didn't have MS, diet and exercise, leading a healthy life would be the way to go. And especially since I have multiple sclerosis, it's like it's a must. But when, like I was saying, when I get off work, some days I just don't feel like frickin' even going for a walk. But, I force myself to get out there and at least go for a walk, at least walk a mile to keep my run streak alive. And there was a month here a couple of years ago, well, a year and a half ago or whatever. There was like a month straight where my MS fatigue was flaring up. So it's like there was no running to be had, and it's like, getting out there and walking that mile every day was strenuous, but I did it. I pushed myself to give 120%, go beyond what I felt like, and just putting out 120% so far as, what I do. I try and put, everything I can into all that I do. It's just like always moving forward, always doing something. When the opportunity came up for this, to possibly have my own radio show here, I'm like, well, that's not really a necessity. I'd like to do that down the line. And then I'm like, hey, why not? Why not now? Why not me right now? And so
Carpe diem.
Here I am doing it. Yeah, exactly. Carpe diem. Seize the day. Seize the opportunity. And it's like that's the last line of my my intro to my daily inspirational post. This here is a new day, a new opportunity to live this life, so I'm going to take it. And, I'm just so grateful that, today I'm able to, take this opportunity to get on this call with you and, have you on my show.
Thank you.
Yeah.
Well, thank you for having me. Remember, yesterday's canceled. Remember that. Don't look at yesterday. If you have to learn from yesterday, only look at it to learn. but don't look at yesterday. You must move forward, because if you don't, you will miss out on everything that's in front of you.
Yeah, definitely. Okay, I'll try this with the rolling R's. We both know I need to work on that, but it's like my.
You know what's funny? People say to me, and I laugh. They go, and maybe George Lopez and I need to get together. That's my buddy right there. But they're like, how do you do that? And I'm like, I don't know. Maybe when I was 2 years old, they put me in a room and they're like, here, roll your R's, make sure you know how to salsa, and I don't know, live life. Latinos are we're lovers, and it's funny when I get upset about something, everyone's like, you're mad. I'm like, I'm not mad. You'll know when I'm mad. Because when I get mad, I'm like, quiet. You're like, is she there? And I'm like, I'll talk to you later. But I think, like, at the end of the day, that's something that's great about our culture, right? We are on a network that does obviously a very Latino radio station itself. Is we live by love, and everyone says we're lovers, we're not fighters. Well, we are. We fight when we have to fight for those that we love, or we have to fight for ourselves, and we have to be our own individual competitor.
Yeah, definitely. But yeah, what you were saying about we can't, we got to stay away from yesterday. Yesterday's canceled. My friend Scotty, he used to say okay, I won't even try and get it, but he in his deep Scottish accent, he would say, yesterday is a canceled check and tomorrow is a promissory note. Today is the only cash day we got, so let's spend it well. Spend it wisely.
And that's beautiful. Let's spend it wisely, right? So let's spend it showing love, even if the person doesn't love us back, right? And when I say that, I mean when we walk out there and we see someone and they're like, oh, what a jerk, they didn't smile back. Maybe they lost someone to COVID. Maybe they're having something. Maybe they don't know and they're living paycheck to paycheck. Maybe they can't even, whatever the case is. I love what you just said, because if we exemplify that and we put that out there, even if it's not reciprocated, that person's going to walk away and go, man, Shane, I don't know who that guy is. They have a big smile on his face. And you don't know how you treat someone, how it's going to affect them in the future, because you never want to leave a bad footprint. You always want to leave a positive footprint, always. You make mistakes. I mean, I'm not saying I haven't, done something stupid or said something stupid, but I love that. If you live for the day, live it right, live it well. I love that.
Yeah. Well, and along those lines, exactly along those lines, what you're saying about that, maybe people, need keep the smile on your face. Maybe people need to see that. Maybe, just you're leaving, you want to leave a positive impression. Well, and it's like I do that all the time when I'm running. I'll be running down the trail, or I'll be before the quarantine, of course. I'd be running, down the road or down the trail on a half marathon or marathon, and it's just like always the whole 13 or 26 miles, however far you're going. Just try and make sure and smile and wave and maybe even say something to everyone I pass. Hey, how's it going? Smile at them, and 90% of the time, most of the time anyway, they'll smile and maybe say something back. They'll wave, and it's just cool like that. Just to say, hey, how's it going? Just to make that connection. And
and what's the opposite of, it's funny, what's the opposite of love? Truly, do you know? Because I will tell you, I'll never forget when a professor told me what the opposite of love really was. It's not hate. Do you know what it is?
Anger?
No, it's indifference. It's indifference. So we never want to have indifference. We always want to have some sort of positive emotional output. If we're indifferent, it's going to come back to us. So, it doesn't mean you love, I love Rev Run. Rev Run says, hug a hater. Well, you know what? Just show love despite. And I think when you do that, you live a happier life.
Yeah. Yeah, definitely. Just, and that's love, positivity, smiling, just a wave, just put positive. And I've been talking with this has come up a couple times in conversations this past week or week and a half or whatever, past few days, is just the energy you put out into the world, just I always try and make sure and put as positive of energy as I can out into the world. And it's like, 90% of the time, the world will send back positive energy to me, but regardless of, what kind of energy the world might send back to me, I always try and put out positive energy into the world, into the community, just because that's what kind of community I want to live in.
Well, and don't sell yourself short. So I know our time is running, but I want to do a shout out to Nick Picard. He's actually a nurse. He's an educator within the MS community as well. Last September, I wanted to dance on the dance floor. So I got out of my FOs. I really trained to kind of not be in them 24/7. And I'll never forget this nurse I meet. Trust me, there was no love interest with him and I. But what I'm saying is that he became my friend because he said, I'm going to give you my arm. And we will dance, and I will give you my. So when someone holds out their arm, take it, and don't be so prideful. Because let me tell you, it was the best dance ever. And I mean, I was like chimichanga, and that's what I want to say is, don't. Sometimes we get into our own way. I can do it. I'm the queen of being Miss Independent. But you know what? That night, I held that person's arm, and now he's a lifelong friend. And I think at the end of the day, take hold of that figurative or physical arm. And just enjoy that moment because it means you're opening yourself up and really, truly living.
Definitely. That's so awesome. I can just see you dancing too. That's awesome. But
it's like Elaine from Seinfeld. It really is. I mean, I'm Latina, and I'm sometimes like, wow. I really think I took more of her moves than I did, anybody else's. So I have to work on that.
Yeah.
People are like, you're so funny. And I'm like, no, and that's really just my dancing. I just dance like Elaine. I'm like a Latina Elaine. If you ever seen the episode for Seinfeld, you just got to go on YouTube, Elaine Seinfeld show, dancing, and you're like, whoa. And I think that's what I exhibit. So I don't know. I might have to get my Latina card back. I don't know.
Yeah. Oh, yeah. You were mentioning earlier about the, YouTube video or a link. And, if, for this show, anyone who wants to watch this show later on, search me out on YouTube. My name is Shane, Shane, last name Nikolich, Nicolich, and just search me out on YouTube. And, my name is the name of my channel on YouTube, so it'll be easy to find. And like I say, later this afternoon, I'll have it uploaded onto my YouTube. And with that, we're right about at the end, but I just want to thank you so, so very, very much, Marisa, for coming on here and, just giving us a little bit of that, giving the listeners a little bit of that inspiration, that fire that you have, about running in life with multiple sclerosis and just in general.
Well, you as well. Thank you, my friend. It was a pleasure and best way for me to start off my Sunday, so thank you.
Yeah, and it's like, definitely the best way, and I wouldn't have had it any other way.
Nice.
All right, well, I'll talk to you later, Marisa, and thank you very much for being on the show, and to all my listeners, thank you for tuning in and watching or listening this morning to Positive Vibes. Actually, I never did give an intro to the show. I just gave your intro. But hey, that's all we needed. And so thank you very much, everyone, for listening to Positive Vibes this morning. And, making gratitude and positivity louder in a podcast world. And with that, I guess I'm out of here. So, ciao.
All right. Bye.
All right. Hasta luego. Me alegro.
Igualmente.
Okay, and so that's it. And have a great Sunday. Ciao.